Agriculture, a presentation of the Communications Unit, Ministry of Agriculture. I'm your producer and host, Christopher Holder. On this week's presentation, we bring you a detailed report about the second crop production of our rice farmers. And of course, you've been hearing in the media, it has been a good year for rice production in Guyana. The numbers are up. We're now consistently over 1 million tons per year in terms of production. The yields per acre has gone up. Farmers are indeed following the recommended agronomic practices as outlined to them in face-to-face meetings by the extension staff of the Guyana Rice Development Board. As you are aware, since taking office, Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa has been engaging farmers and stakeholders across the country and ordered a number of key interventions to ensure that this second crop rice farmers were able to realize the harvest that was in the field. The question was getting it from the field to the mills because of the problems associated with dams and so on being in disrepair. Those interventions, of course, turned out positively. We will be hearing from some farmers who were impacted by those interventions. What are their thoughts and so on about the interventions ordered by the new Agriculture Minister. We will also hear about export figures. Again, our export numbers continue to climb. Earnings, foreign exchange earnings from the export of rice continue to climb. In the area of value added in terms of rice packaged for export, both white and parboiled, those numbers continue to climb. Great signals for the future for rice exports in Guyana. So the minister has also been pursuing additional markets. We will hear about those efforts in this program. This Week in Agriculture is produced for television by Matrix Video Productions and Advertising, based in East Berbice. We will be back after these messages.
Coconut farmers across Guyana are invited to visit Hope Estate for top quality coconut seedlings in any quantity. Now available are 5, 3, and 18-month varieties. It should be noted that the spacing of your coconut seedlings is determined by the variety you are planting. Persons interested in purchasing seedlings may make contact with Hope Estate on telephone numbers 256-0599 or 663-2709. A message from the management of Hope Estate, Ministry of Agriculture. The Guyana Livestock Development Authority, GLDA, is reminding the general public that its range of services can be accessed from all 10 administrative regions of Guyana. These services include regulatory services such as the issuance of permits for the import-export of live animals, meat, veterinary drugs, hatching eggs, etc., and the granting of licenses for the trade in animals and animal products. These regulatory services also include quarantine for live animals, inspection at ports of entry, and livestock product facilities. In addition, GLDA provides services in the area of artificial insemination in cattle, small ruminants, and swine, livestock management, pasture development, beekeeping. The GLDA Veterinary Laboratory offers diagnostic services including testing for internal parasites, screening of blood and other tissues for the presence of diseases such as avian influenza, infectious bronchitis, Newcastle disease in poultry, and brucellosis, rabies, etc. in other animals. To access these services, contact the GLDA veterinarian or extension officers in your region or the head office on 220-6556 or 220-6557. A message from the GLDA Ministry of Agriculture. The Guyana Rice Development Board is reminding all farmers that an integrated pest management program is the best way to ensure a successful, high-yielding crop. Integrated Pest Management, or IPM, is the use of several compatible control strategies to suppress a pest. IPM is for the management of all insect pests and snails or even weeds, whether it's early season, mid-season, or late season. This program begins at land preparation and involves the following key steps: After proper tillage, leave land exposed to sun for a few days to allow for pests in the soil to be exposed to natural predators, as well as to allow for degradation of any debris there. Proper land leveling should also be ensured. Farmers should adopt uniform times of sowing. Sowing en bloc during the April, May, and November-December periods of the year. All farmers should treat their seed before sowing, providing insect pest protection to the young rice plants for up to 30 days. Ensure proper water management for the first 40 days of the crop. Ensure effective monitoring of the crop from the vegetative stage for the presence of paddy bugs or other pests. This will aid the farmer in determining the right time to apply the appropriate insecticide to kill the paddy bugs. A message from the Guyana Rice Development Board, Ministry of Agriculture. This is what a responsible, health-conscious person should be wearing when using agrochemicals on the farm. Wearing the proper protective equipment guards users of pesticides and other harmful chemicals from the cumulative effects of consistent exposure over a period of time. In the short term, exposure can result in skin or eye irritation, rashes, burns, respiratory problems, etc. Long-term results of exposure to harmful chemicals include certain types of cancers, birth defects, etc. Ensure you wear the proper protective equipment when applying pesticides. A message from the Pesticides and Toxic Chemicals Control Board, Ministry of Agriculture. With the government's stated commitment to the overall development of Guyana's agriculture sector, farmers across the country have been redoubling their efforts at improving their production and productivity in all areas. Since assuming office, Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa has been visiting farming communities all across Guyana's coast, from Region 6 to Region 2, interacting with farmers in the rice, cash crop, and other crop sectors, listening to their concerns and responding with a number of critical emergency interventions aimed at bringing them relief and paving the way for them to realize the full potential to produce and feed a nation. For rice farmers, the main challenge has been improper drainage and irrigation, impeded access to their rice lands due to neglected farm-to-market roads, etc. In August, soon after taking the oath of office as Agriculture Minister, the minister was informed by rice farmers that their crop, which was just about ready for harvest, was in jeopardy due to poor drainage and neglected dams. An urgent intervention was necessary. This was the cry in all the rice-growing regions of the country. The response was swift and comprehensive. With the help of the National Drainage and Irrigation Authority, NDIA, a massive program was started, one fueled by a more than $350 million injection of funds approved by Cabinet, emergency funds to help an industry in crisis. These funds were used to clear clogged drainage and irrigation canals, repair broken dams, and rehabilitate broken D&I structures, some of which had not been attended to in years. This was the case in Blackbush, the Quarantine Frontlands at 52 to number 74 NDC areas, the Upper Quarantine areas in Region 6, in the MMA scheme in Region 5, where approximately $100 million was spent in rehabilitating main farm-to-market roads and clear more than 300 miles of drainage and irrigation channels. Work was done in Regions 2, 3, and 4, much to the relief of farmers in all those areas. From all of Guyana's rice farmers, a big thank you to the proactive approach of Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa.
Well, the minister, the job that he sent the machine to do, he do a really great job. He sent us first, he sent the machine, and the chairman said, don't clean no canal or dig no canal, repair dam, that the paddy can come out. All farmers paddy can come out, and after then it start. Well, that was a very great assistance that we are having, and I am so thankful to the government and the minister. What he have done so far is very great, very, very good.
Good job, They assist us a lot, promptly, and everything. They come build down and dig trench, and everything, get everything line there. Now they get repeat the canal them now too. So that's a great job they're doing.
And presently, I'm cultivating 80 acres of rice between Liverpool and Manchester. But for the past years we had a problem with the drainage system at Manchester. So we are thankful now for DNI to help us with a machine to help us with this drainage canal. At present now we could see that we have a canal that is dug presently from Thorndam, it's going straight to the road. This agriculture minister that we have at present doing excellent job. He visiting all the areas and he listen to our complaint, and right away he send machine to help with farmers within the area. So we're glad that if he could continue with this kind of outreach program, that we could ever get a better agriculture within the area. Because in front you could see people doing farming, but there's still a lot of bush that still come. If we could get some assistance to clear some of those bushes, it will be more boost that some more young people could come within the area and help do some farming than down the road smoking and stuff like that.
The feedback was the same in the other regions we visited. The interventions were timely and comprehensive, and the result was another bumper harvest successfully brought from the rice fields for the second crop 2020. At the time of this interview with GRDB's general manager, the 2020 second crop rice harvest was at 99%.
Farmers continued their efforts at maintaining and improving production and productivity in the second crop of 2020. For the second crop, over 94,000 hectares were sown, yielding over 517,000 tons of paddy, which is equivalent to almost 340,000 tons of rice. Overall, at this time of the second crop harvest, which is about 99% complete, we have harvested collectively, both the first crop and the second crop, 1,052,000 tons of paddy, which is slightly above the 2019 figure of 1,049,000 tons. The yields varied within the regions and between the regions. In some regions we've had as much as 6 tons per hectare, while in other regions we had 5, and in some areas just about 4.5 tons per hectare. So it varied across the regions.
For the second crop 2020, rice farmers across the rice-growing regions produced just over 517,000 metric tons of paddy, with a rice equivalent of 336,000 metric tons. And this was despite several challenges during the life of the crop.
Overall, it's been a good crop for the second crop of 2020. There were some challenges, of course, during this period of the measures that were put in place because of COVID-19. In the second crop also, in the latter part of this second crop, there were some incidences of diseases in some areas. Also, the dreaded paddy bugs again showed up during the flowering period of the second crop, and measures were put in place. And these measures include the GRDB had a paddy bug action units, or we have paddy bug action units. Responded to when these incidences showed up and provided spraying to the farmers' fields, the dams and the meres and so on. We also conducted training with the farmers because we have found in some cases that notwithstanding farmers are saying that they're spraying, that some of them are not spraying in the recommended way, some of them are not using the recommended quantities to mix in the blowers, and also some of them were not using the recommended blowers per acre. So this is ongoing in our efforts to transmit that information to the farmers. We've started working with the Rice Producers Association. We've trained some of their representatives to represent the farmers at mills, and this will be an ongoing effort where we will be working closer with the Rice Producers Association to provide the services that the industry needs.
A look at rice harvest by region, we see that Region 5 continued its winning ways with a total of nearly 233,000 metric tons of paddy harvested and an average yield of 5.56 tons per hectare. Region 6 had another good showing this second crop, with a total of 147,000 metric tons harvested at a yield of just under 6 tons per hectare. While Region 4's production figure was just 24,000 metric tons, its yield per hectare continues to be the best in the country. In Region 2, rice farmers produced a total of just over 68,000 metric tons of paddy at a yield of 4.85 tons per hectare. Across in Region 3, the harvest was 44,000 metric tons at a yield of 5.19 tons per hectare. As part of his commitments to farmers across the country made during his many outreaches, Agriculture Minister Mustafa promised rice farmers significantly more support to them through the extension arm of the GRDB, a commitment that is already being realized. In looking ahead to 2020, the GRDB General Manager projected even more production and productivity on the part of Guyana's rice farmers and outlined some of the areas in which farmers can depend on the agency in terms of support and guidance.
For 2021, we project 188,000 hectares of land to be sown, and it's also projected that 1,150,000 tons of paddy will be produced. To achieve this, the board will do the following things. Of course, accelerate its efforts in its extension efforts, research of course, but let's focus on extension. Working closer with farmers across the rice growing regions, especially in the areas of red rice management. And we've actually selected 2 farmers from each district where we have extension officers, which is throughout. We have 29 extension officers throughout the rice growing regions, and 2 farmers have been selected from each of those districts within the regions that will work with our agronomist, Dr. Payman, and the extension officer for the district. Additionally, notwithstanding COVID measures and any further measures that will be put in place in the months ahead, we will continue our small farmers training sessions with the farmers. Originally, you may know that we've had these farmers training schools where we had a large number of farmers that we used to meet with, but now we are meeting with smaller numbers of farmers. And so we'll continue those efforts, especially at reminding farmers and disseminating the information on improved agronomic practices. Additionally, areas like paddy bug management, we will of course enhance, because we've seen over the past few crops that paddy bugs and its management is very important for the economic viability and sustainability of rice production. And so the entomologists working along with the paddy bug management officers and the extension officers will continue their efforts at firstly reminding and educating farmers about the methods they need to use to manage paddy bugs. From our experiences, we have seen that there are some farmers that just need some refreshers. They may be spraying for the paddy bugs, but they may not be doing it in, let's say, the recommended way in terms of how to hold the nozzle and how high to hold it above the rice plant, and the appropriate or recommended distances between the men who are walking with the blowers, the appropriate and recommended mixture of the pesticide with the water. So those kinds of things we'll continue our efforts to do. Additionally, we'll be working along with the Rice Producers Association. We've started these efforts already. We've already trained some representatives, some farmers who are from the Rice Producers Association. At the time of harvest and when the paddy is going to be sold to the mills, the Rice Producers Association representatives will be trained there to ensure that the transaction is satisfactory to the farmer as well as to the miller at the time of the sale of the paddy.
Included in the projections for the 2021 first crop harvest is some 5,000 acres of the recently released high-yielding variety GRDB 16.
We will also be monitoring 5,000 acres, approximately 5,000 acres of the new variety GRB 16 that was just released, is scheduled to go under production. The chief scientist and plant breeder, along with the extension officers in the respective districts, will be monitoring that production. Because this is the first commercial crop since the official release of the GRB 16 by Minister Mustafa. So the efforts, research efforts are ongoing. So notwithstanding its official release, we still want to monitor how the crop or how the varieties fares in commercial production, so that the breeder can gather the data, and if he needs to do anything else, that will be done.
Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa says Guyana's farmers continue to display the testicular fortitude in the face of many difficult challenges these past few years and have prevailed, demonstrating ever-improving yields for their efforts. The minister has congratulated farmers in this production performance, not only for this second crop, but for the year as a whole, a year that saw the implementation of many difficult protocols to safeguard against the coronavirus, which must have negatively impacted their farm routines. The minister posited that the production performance of Guyana's rice farmers has also positively impacted exports, so much so that there is growing international interest in Guyana's rice. It is because of this growing interest that government will be investing heavily in the sector, facilitating the expansion of lands for rice cultivation through a number of initiatives.
Our exports we have seen increase in exports around the world. A number of countries now are looking at Guyana to import their our paddy and rice, especially the white rice. And I am very optimistic that next crop we'll be having a record-breaking crop, because we have put in a number of infrastructural work over the last few months that we have taken. I have taken up this position. The MMA scheme, I am hoping to see an increase there, not only in acreage cultivate, but also in yields per acre, because recently we have launched a new variety, and many farmers now are anticipating that their yields will increase, and that will help us to improve and increase our productivity. We are now looking at more investment in the rice sector, more developmental work. As a matter of fact, D&I will be one of the main areas that we'll improve in. We in the recent budget that we have had passed in the National Assembly, we have purchased additional excavators to do D&I works across the country. MMA have procured only today. I have no objection from Cabinet to procure excavator for MMA, and we'll be doing more work. I am hoping to increase lands in there in terms of opening up new lands in the MMA scheme. Our eventual aim is to improve rice production by 100% over the next 4 years. And this will be coming about by opening new lands, go into the second phase of the MMA, also open new lands in the Kanji area, the Kanji Basin area. That is a very important area for us. And looking at the left and right bank of the Mahaika area there. So all those areas will become, we will have new lands open, farmers will have new facilities.
Among the many international entities looking to invest in Guyana's agriculture sector is Dubai, an oil-rich nation which Guyana recently hosted in the person of His Royal Highness Sheikh Ahmed Al Juma Al Maktoum of the United Arab Emirates, UAE.
We are looking at new investment coming in the country. I have recently made presentation to an investment group that came from Dubai. We had the Prince of Dubai visited Guyana, and I did a presentation on rice production, how we can increase rice production, and I have since submitted that proposal to that investment team. I am very optimistic that we can have investment there.
Speaking to the issue of non-payment from Panama, which owes Guyana some $1.9 billion, the Agriculture Minister assured that government is pushing for the payment to be received before the end of the year. Looking ahead, the Minister expressed optimism in the future of the local agriculture sector, but more so, the rice industry.
So we are seeing that more lands will be opening, more production, we'll have more production on stream, and I think farmers now are very optimistic, seeing that we have reduced land rental D&I charges by almost 600%. We are giving subsidies also in terms of we have taken the VAT and inputs and inputs in the agriculture sector, and also in VAT and agriculture machinery. This will help the farmers to have more monies in the pocket, and at the same time, we are also helping farmers with with extension services, where our officers are going out on a regular basis to advise farmers on how to get better yields per acre in terms of looking at their crop to ensure that they do it in a more scientific way. So for rice farmers out there, I am saying that the future look great. Although we are now at oil and gas, we are now producing, or we have discovered oil and gas and now producing oil. I think the agriculture sector is taking the country by storm in terms of the renewed interest we have seen over the last few months, especially in areas that we have visited. And I am hoping that we'll go to other areas that people see those areas that doesn't plant as much as the other area. We will be visiting those areas to also get the people to involve in agriculture production. GRDB, we have had a new board of director, and GRDB will play a more facilitating role in ensuring that we deliver all these services to the farmers of the country. So I think that 2020 was a good year for us, and I'm expecting 2021 to be a record-breaking year, where we'll have more production, where we'll have better yields per acre or hectares, and where we'll have more markets and more lucrative market for farmers. Recently, we have visited Suriname, and there are good opportunities there where we'll work together with the ministry over there. I've had a number of meetings with the Minister of Agriculture over there, and we'll continue those kind of discourse. And I have reached also a number of individual investors who are showing a great interest in the rice sector in Guyana. I'll continue those meetings. So hopefully those can be materialized, and we can have those investors on board come the new year 2021.
The control of red rice through careful management of water levels in your rice field for the first 40 days is critical to your yield at the end of the crop. Water acts as an agent to control red rice and even other grass weeds at a depth of 4 inches. With proper land preparation and leveling established, maintaining a light flood continuously until the canopy is fully developed will suppress red rice establishment. Leaving the land exposed for any length of time will give weeds an ample chance to germinate and infest the field. Panicle cutting should be done prior to shattering. The second cutting exercise should be conducted at 20 days to control panicle regrowth. Water management is one of 3 critical interventions for the effective control of red rice. A message from the Guyana Rice Development Board, Ministry of Agriculture. Coconut farmers across Guyana are invited to visit the Hope Estate for top quality coconut seedlings in any quantity. Now available are 5, 3, and 18-month varieties. It should be noted that the spacing of your coconut seedlings is determined by the variety you are planting. Persons interested in purchasing seedlings may make contact with Hope Estate on telephone numbers 256-0599 or 663-2709. A message from the management of Hope Estate, Ministry of Agriculture. Well, that's all the time we have on this week's edition of This Week in Agriculture, a presentation of the Communications Unit, Ministry of Agriculture. I'm your producer and host, Christopher Holder. Join me next time for another edition of this program, right here on this station.